everyone, to the 200th episode edition of the Ringside Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Spencer.
I'm Jeremy Wallman.
I'm Eric Cornish.
And I'm Linda Kay.
I'm excited, guys. We are back. And we got a lot to talk about, but guys, we got, before we get to everything going on in wrestling, before we get to all that, I just want to say, first of all, how you guys been doing? Some of you I've seen in person, some of you have not. How have you been doing?
Tremendous as always. That's not
Very
to
good.
be thrilled about right now in the world of wrestling.
Yeah.
Still breathing, so still doing well as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. That's always good to hear. Yeah, for sure. Jeremy, you've been busy. You've been kicking it, been busy a lot with your website and your podcast for Louisville sports and all that. So that's awesome.
I've been rebuilding my basement, and I built a brand new studio. So
nice. I don't
next
see all
time
your,
we're
we don't
able
see all
to.
your, we don't see all your titles right now. So
I know I've moved them to the entertainment area downstairs. So
okay.
We'll have to do an old-fashioned recorded session here one time coming up here.
Yeah. And Linda, you've been keeping OVW at float with being that the shows have been shut down because of renovations for the last 2 months. So good job with you, with that. We'll talk more about that as we get closer or we get later in the show. But shout out to you on that.
Yeah, it's been fun just keeping both, well, more so Rise, but a little bit of Overdrive. Some shenanigans there help keeping that afloat and keeping things moving, as we know this is a huge week for OVW as well, which again, we will touch on more a little bit.
Yeah.
Hottest feud in OVW right now. Linda Kay dances Stevie J.
Check it out. You can go to OVW's YouTube and watch it all back.
And Eric, you've just been ring announcing away as well, Linda does too, but you've been doing a lot more shows than you normally do right now because Linda's been being pulled at other places. You had to step in.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. We had a great run at the Kentucky State Fair, which was awesome. Linda and I it seemed like we traveled around the world in one weekend together. So we know each other a lot better than we did then. And now we hate each other. No, we don't hate each other. I'm just kidding. No, but it was many hours. How many hours? I didn't even add up. How many hours we spent in a car together? A lot, a long
weekend,
time.
well over a day if you add that all together. But
it was fun, and we appreciate it. It's so cool to see crowds outside of the state of Kentucky, coming out for OVW. So
that is
pretty
awesome.
neat.
That is awesome. And of course I've been doing a lot of work.
You, Daniel, too.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work with TNA. Not as much OVW, but it's been a lot. It's been a very busy couple months. But look, I'm excited for this 200th episode because we got a very special guest on the show. We had people vote and choose of who they wanted to come on. But hey guys, who do you think should be our special guest? And people were throwing in names like Al Snow. It's well, he was the 100th episode, and that would have been great. But we've already had him on the show. We'll bring you back again, but we wanted somebody different for the 200th episode. We had, people throw out Eric Bischoff, and I was like, hey, look, Eric Bischoff would be great down the road, and I'd love to make that happen. It's just we believe that this person is the better fit for the 200th episode right now. On that. And Linda, did you see anybody out there throwing out names as well?
Well, besides Bischoff, I
saw Dutch Mantel. Somebody said Dutch Mantel, which would be awesome.
That would be.
It's
awesome.
not him.
It's not him. It's not him. Jeremy, did you see anybody throwing any guests out there? I mean, people. I know our good pal Ryan Mosley threw his name out there, but that's not Ryan Mosley. Right, Jeremy?
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Somebody said Kevin Nash earlier, I believe, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did
say Jeremy. I literally, when I was like,
they did say Kevin Nash, and somebody even threw out Big Boogeyman as well. And I'm like, guys, these are great choices down the road, but this is not who we believe is.
I believe those are all good choices. I certainly believe they're good choices. And I believe we might have them on the show at some point. We might even talk to them this weekend. But I believe we have somebody else right now. And I believe, Daniel, Linda, somebody say his name.
What?
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause you love him in London and Paris and Tokyo.
I'm believe we said his name. Does that mean?
Oh my goodness!
Here I am.
This is where I wave
Yeah.
my hands from side to side.
Usually, yeah, it does. So actually, I appear when someone says "say his name," not my actual name. It's "say his name," but since me and Daniel are friends, I made an exception.
There you go.
Wait a minute. That's the
All right.
first. That's the first. Like that has to go viral right now. Daniel has a friend that admitted he was his friend. That's the first. You've already went viral here in the city of Louisville just off that, Joe.
Well,
Great
this
start
is-
to the week.
Well, this is our 200th episode, so why not bring in somebody that's just all over the charts from everywhere and viral on social media, all over your what is it, the iTunes? Is it still called iTunes charts, or is
The
that
iTunes. How
Yeah.
old are you, Daniel? The
Yeah.
iTunes.
Ah,
well,
wow.
is it still called iTunes though? Is it or is
Apple Music, I guess.
Apple
I
Music?
think, no,
Okay.
iTunes charts. iTunes charts.
okay? iTunes, Spotify, you've been everywhere. You're on top. You're now, this weekend going to be challenging for the NXT, title. So hopefully we see you with that title. Then of course before that, this weekend in Louisville, you're going to be teaming with the Hardy brothers, Matt and Jeff Hardy, to with Mike Santana to take on the System. So you got a busy weekend ahead. So why not?
Imagine telling your teenage self that. It's like, yeah, I've got teaming with the Hardys on Friday, TV Saturday, competing for a WWE title on the Sunday. Yeah, busy weekend.
Yeah,
It's
busy
pretty
for
wild,
sure.
right?
Yeah, it is pretty
Well,
wild.
forget your teenage self, Joe. Let's just talk about like a year ago. Can you imagine any of us thinking a year ago, oh yeah, by the way, the pay-per-view on NXT coming up in August of next year is going to be Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page for the NXT title. I don't think any of us could have looked back and said, wait a minute, what? Joe Hendry jumps to NXT? No, he's still going to wrestle for TNA. What? Like, that's insane.
So I always had faith that I would break out because I did so many entrance videos and I really believed in them that I thought to myself, one day this is going to reach critical mass. People are going to start finding out about me and it's going to catch fire. This has been a nuclear explosion, not a neighborhood fire, So I didn't expect it to be as big and as quick as this, but that is certainly a shock. And also, if we go back to April, I hadn't been on a TNA pay-per-view for a year, So here I am in March, can't get on a pay-per-view, and fast forward to now where I think I have argument that I'm the face of TNA wrestling right now, and I know that upsets a couple people called Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander, but the truth hurts.
Listen, speaking of the entrances, that's one of the things I've always been I haven't always been a TNA fan, but over the last Daniel, 4 or 5 years, the opinions changed, management changed, the production, everything changed. And one of the bright spots was always you in your entertainment. If I had to just on the spot here think of my favorite entrance you've done, I loved the one that you did with Scotty 2 Hotty. That was amazing. I can't even think. I'll be the one with AJ Francis where you do the repeated. It cuts to him flying over the top rope and falling over. Amazing. Like I just. What would be one of your favorite? What is your favorite one you've done so far? And by the way, the one last night, kudos again. Ethan put on some clothes.
My favorite one is whatever the fans' favorite one is, and it changes all the time. But yeah, the Scotty 2 Hotty one is the most common answer, so I'll go with that too.
And then with your entrance, I mean, obviously so catchy. Everybody from the mainstream, obviously getting in tune with that. I've seen football players sing it. I've seen newscasters. Is there another type of branch of entertainment that you haven't seen yourself a part of as far as on socials and whatnot that you would be surprised if somebody saying you believed in you, Joe?
Do you mean so are there other entertainment avenues I want to go down and explore within the realm of wrestling? Is that what you meant? Or
no, but if there's certain actors or musicians
right, sorry.
surprised if they caught on. You're like, holy crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's a crazy one. So in my workout playlist, do you know who the band the Mars Volta are?
Mm-hmm.
So I have like one, I think it's Intergalactic S, but I have their song, that song of theirs in my workout playlist. And I saw someone with a whole bunch of followers follow me on Instagram, was liking all my stuff and putting up stories about me and stuff. And it was one of the musicians from the Mars Volta. And I was like, that is so mad. I've been listening to this band since I feel like since I was a teenager, you know. So it's like maybe early 20s, maybe teenager, but you know, that was pretty wild, you know, just little moments like that. Again, you know, sometimes like, you know, Chris Jericho texted me once and saying, I can't get your damn song out of my head, you know, like he's been super supportive. Like that's pretty crazy to, you know, my two favorite wrestlers when I was a kid were well, my favorites were, you know, The Rock, Jericho, Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, John Cena, The Miz, you know, like, so to not that I've had an interaction with The Miz yet, that would be cool though. I definitely, you know, down the line somewhere, who knows? But just, you know, to think that Jericho was like in my top two favorite wrestlers, and here he is texting me saying he can't get my song out of his head. You know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
The little things.
That's the same
Yeah.
way Daniel
Well, that's a
felt
big
when I
thing, I'd
followed
say.
him back.
I would
Real
say.
big.
Yeah.
That's the same way Daniel felt when I followed him back on Twitter 10 years ago. So I get it. He gets it.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it happens. So Joe, one of the things that we did is when we first met, when you first guest on, came into TNA, we talked about this on your show Food Fight on the TNA Plus app. We bonded over food, and one happened to be a Wendy's Baconator, is what we bonded over. And so I'm curious, is being at the PC right now, doing, you know, and constantly on the road, have you had any Baconators lately?
No, dude, Wendy's is a thing of the past, my man. It's I'm just looking up right now, right?
Yeah.
Guess
But
how
then-
many? So guess how many calories is in a Baconator? If you know the answer, don't answer, but take a guess. Let's go around the room. How many calories is in a Baconator?
800?
800,
1370.
1370.
I'm gonna say more in the 1200 range.
It's
I
1,010.
was gonna say
It's 1,010.
Wow.
That's a lot. When
That's
you're
a
getting
lot.
into four figures for one burger with
Yeah.
2 beef patties on it, we got problems, brother.
We do got a
problems.
problem. Now, I'm sure you would take though a nice sponsorship endorsement from Wendy's, though. I mean, who wouldn't, right? So they also have other things that you can eat that is a little more healthier, to say the least.
Yeah,
But,
I will say, you know, Chipotle is a little more in line with
yes,
it's less fat and more carbs these days. You know what I mean?
yes, yes.
You know, and before I met Moose, my macros were like 300 grams of fat a day. But the weird thing was, like, I was actually pretty jacked around that time. I've found that, like, you either have to go heavy on fat or carbs. You can't do both. But, you know, that said, I've heard of a lot of people doing the carnivore diet and high fat diets, and it's like, oh, it's the best thing ever. And then they have, you know, strokes and heart attacks and whatnot. So I took Moose's advice and I went high carb, low fat. And like I say, I do feel better. I would say that you know, my sleep's better. I just feel overall healthier, more consistent physically, I would say. That's what I would say. But I'll tell you, I was explosive when I was on the Baconator diet. I think ultimately my dream is to get that Stan Hansen physique. You know, I mean, big arms, big belly. I'm here to kick some ass. You know, wear a cowboy hat. That's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's not going back to the Baconator, Daniel.
No, it's all.
Trying to
Hey,
make him go back.
I haven't had one probably in a year myself, so I get it. I mean, but it's just such a good burger. But you know, I guess one in like every one, and then, you know, fast for 3 days might be the way to go.
Yeah, I actually haven't fasted in a long time. Fasting used to be a huge part of my life, but
Yeah.
I've just been, and I miss it. I've just been so busy, and I've, like you said, been at the PC. I've been working out pretty much. I mean, active pretty much every day. So it's just not been possible.
I heard you say recently you had a day off since only one or two.
I've had two.
2 days off.
I've had two.
Yeah.
2 days off since the song came out, which, to be honest with you, that's kind of the way I want it, because even like the travel is super stressful. And I find that when you're in the pressure cooker and you're just going, you can get stuff done. When you inevitably have to have a come down from that where you go, whew, and you realize everything that you've done. But to give you an example of last week, there was a double NXT taping where I did the triple threat main event with Wesley and Pete Dunne. And that was the main event segment of that show. And then immediately I had to go upstairs, get changed, get my guitar, and get ready to perform a song that I was required to add another verse to the night before, when I'd finished up the night before at 11 p.m. So if you sit there and think about it too much, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to get through it. And I remember one of the best compliments I ever got was from Terry Taylor when he came up to me and he basically said, a lot of other people might have folded under this pressure and you didn't. So that really meant a lot to me, because it's not easy doing, like a double taping like that. And then there's NXT, there's TNA, there's signings, there's indies, and then all the travel in between. It's nonstop. It is absolutely nonstop. I'm running my own shows. Like, I've got a show in Germany, and we have, I think, 4 tickets left.
Wow.
For my show in Germany. We've surpassed 400 tickets. We're talking about maybe opening up a balcony, but I'm now in a position where I think we're, off the back of the success of this, I think I'm just about ready to start planning a world tour, to be honest.
Start a cruise. Jericho did, and it worked for him. So
that sounds like a lot of organization. I don't know if I've got that in me. I think a day out maximum. The Joe Hendry picnic. Jericho can have the cruise. I'll have the picnic.
Well, that's good.
Listen, Joe, everybody, people like to throw out the terminology overnight sensation, which just is not fair and not true at all, because you've been working hard at this for years. Kids love you. Adults love you. My dad, who passed away 2 years ago, loved you. My mom loves you. My brother loves you. My wife, my brother loves you so much that I have your ringtone. I've recorded a custom ringtone, and I mute when you say Hendry, and his name's Joe as well. So I put my name in there, and he'll just sit here and we'll watch wrestling, and he'll call me a couple times every time. It's just a cool thing, and it's also as a wrestling fan, which I follow all kinds of wrestling. It really makes me happy when I see somebody that's been grinding and somebody who I like, somebody I'm cheering for, makes it and it gets recognized. And somebody that did recognize the talent is Shawn Michaels. This deal that you all have going on with NXT has been amazing for all true fans of wrestling. Can be anybody that's had anything negative to say about it. How long do you hope that relationship with them lasts? Is this something that you hope is just selfishly so you can get back to being the face of TNA? Is a short-term deal, or do you hope this is something, because real wrestling fans never thought this would happen? So
I would argue that I am the face of TNA.
You are. Yeah,
that's what I would argue. Again, I know that's going to be very upsetting for Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander, but whoever walks out of that, they can put their title on the line in a one-on-one match, and then we'll see who the face of TNA is. Make no mistake about it, I am a TNA wrestler, and my loyalty is to TNA wrestling, and my objective this Sunday is to bring the NXT championship back to TNA, which a lot of people think that's impossible, but me showing up and having the most viewed video of the year in all of wrestling on X would have seemed impossible. To get 18 million hits on that would have seemed impossible. To then go from what was just meant to be a day to become, the run that I've had, to go from, being eliminated in the first 10 seconds to now the very top of the card. Yeah. Seems to be a bit of a pattern of people telling me that things are impossible and then me smashing through it. So if I come back home with the NXT championship, well, guess what? The onus will be on WWE to try and take it back from TNA.
Now, so what happens? I was going to say, what happens next? So you want to go back to TNA? So is that where you want to stay, or you have your eyes on other aspects of the wrestling world?
What do you mean go back to TNA?
Well, I mean,
I'm right here in Louisville. I never left TNA. I'm here in Louisville. Yeah.
I'm just saying, once you take that title back to TNA, I mean, is that where you're going to stay, or are you moving on to other things?
So my job is to do what TNA management asked me to do. And what TNA management have asked me to do is go and take the NXT championship, bring it back to TNA, and then I'll go, boss, look what I brought home. Now let's talk about me getting a belt for the other shoulder. That's what my job is.
There you go. We'll say
Love
this
to
is
hear
that what on the show Food Fight, you do. I would love to see a guest, say from that other world, crossover as well, cross the line on that. Have you ever thought about asking the one and only? Now Jeremy, he's blocked you on Twitter, but you ever thought about bringing over Shawn Michaels?
Who's blocked me on Twitter?
No, Shawn Michaels blocked Jeremy on Twitter.
I paid him I paid him a compliment. I said the exact tweet was he had posted something about a movie he was in, and I was like, if your movie is anything like your wrestling career, this should be solid. And he took it as a diss, and he blocked me. And it's given Daniel's got a kick out of that because he's just a douche canoe.
It's great. It's great. He blocked you.
Hey, listen. That's your side of the story. You know what? I kind of wonder is that verbatim what the tweet was, or was there a little bit extra characters on there? Yeah. All right.
No, it really was. I promise.
Hey, listen.
I swear to Hendry.
All right. Okay. All right.
But no,
I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want me to do about it.
Well, what I was going to say was, what about have you thought about bringing in Shawn Michaels over to Food Fight and have a little conversation with him about his favorite foods and whatnot?
I think I often have to take a second to just fully appreciate that really, when it comes to in-ring wrestling, Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time. So when me and Shawn do get to chat, I'm in learning mode. You know what I mean?
There you go.
And it's so I want to try and absorb as much knowledge as I can from our interactions. So you know what? It would be awesome to talk about, food fight related topics and things like that. But when you're talking to HBK, the showstopper, you gotta be ears open and wait for the knowledge that's coming your way. And that's what I've tried to do.
That is absolutely the right answer. Joe, we're almost out of time here. We appreciate you coming on. Once again, guys, this Friday, live here in Louisville on Emergence is going to be on the TNA Plus app. It's sold out if you're not going to be there, but you can watch on TNA Plus. Subscribe today. However, tickets are still available for the Saturday TV tapings. Only a few, though, not very many.
And can I just say, on the Saturday is a lot of the time, the second show is when I drop a lot of the entrances and the cool stuff. So a lot of people have made the mistake of coming to the first show and they go, we'll get to catch the TV next time, and then they miss it. Like I dropped Edge's bitch on a TV, for example. You know what I mean? That's just one example rather than the pay-per-view. A lot of the time, that's what we do.
And I can back that up. He does do that on the TV. So you'll never. He said that already on another interview I heard today. So I'm pretty sure he's hinting to something, guys. Buy those tickets for Saturday and be there to see what he's got to say and what Joe Hendry's going to do. Joe, thank you so much. Do we say your name and you disappear? Is that how it works?
Oh,
too?
Damn. Is that how it is already? Damn, you've got what you needed. And now you're kicking me out.
Tossing him away, man. That's crazy.
With my own catch.
I smell a rip bump.
Do you know what? I want to thank you guys for having me. And Jeremy, I'm going to flip a coin, and if it lands on tails, I'm going to block you just for the hell of it.
Oh, come on, Joe. I was one of the first believers.
I'm joking. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wait for a coin to flip. I'm just going to block you anyway. I don't need a coin to do that. I'm joking, my friend. As a British phrase we use, I'm winding you up. I'm joking around. I appreciate you.
Now you have to follow me. The rule is now you have to
follow me. I can't. You're breaking up, Jeremy. I can't hear you.
That's why Joe is one of my favorite
You're
people.
breaking up, Jeremy.
Joe, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it, man. I'll see you this weekend.
You believe.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See ya.
Louisville, Kentucky. TNA Wrestling makes its way to the Derby City this August with back-to-back nights of high-energy, total non-stop action.
TNA on its rise to the top, creatures! Mount up!
TNA Wrestling presents Emergence and Impact, live at Old Foresters Paris Town Hall, Friday, August 30th and Saturday, August 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
There you go, guys. That was the one. Actually, let's start over. Hang on. All right. There we go, guys. That was the one and only Joe Hendry, episode 200. We probably could have used more of his time, but we did. I know he's very busy today and all weekend coming up. So I'm glad that we did. We could have probably talked for another 20, 30 minutes, honestly, but I wanted
It's something he's always busy, as you said.
Yeah.
Not much free time.
Yeah, I wanted to give him. I wanted to let him, just let him have his day and do his stuff. But I appreciate him coming on and doing this. This is that was a fun interview.
Did you put him up to that? Did you put him up to that?
I did not.
That seems like something you would do for all the stuff that I've unintentionally got you into.
Where? I wish. Look, there was a rib one time. Well, it wasn't a rib. There was a thing that happened with Dave Pinzer one time, and he swore up and down I ribbed him on purpose. And I'm like, dude, I wish I came up with this idea. This is brilliant, and I did not. And I'm like, and the planning that had to go into it to make this thing really happen. I was like, this is just happenstance. So no, I wish I would have came up with that. It was brilliant, but I did not put him up to it at all. I promise you.
If I'm blocked, we're gonna have to have a word because that's not cool. It was different when Sean. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sean, but at least his was getting older, misunderstood the tweet.
I hope he blocked you just because it'd be the greatest thing ever. Oh man. Anyways, episode 200, man, it started with a bang, and we got more to talk about, guys. So Jeremy's gonna keep looking at his phone all day.
What a huge week, though, in pro wrestling, though. I mean, not only do we have like the most, the craziest, sensation in all of wrestling for episode 200, but I mean, Kentucky is blowing up with wrestling. Europe has been blowing up with wrestling last weekend and this week. So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then let's just name everything we got going on. You got Thursday night, the OVW's back in the Davis Arena, at the Hot Point Davis Arena.
That's right.
The new Hot Point Davis Arena. They're back in that. Plus, you got Thursday night TNA Impact going to be airing, not live, but airing on Access TV and TNA Plus. Then you've got Friday, you've got Emergence live from here in Louisville, Kentucky, live also on the TNA Plus app. Not to mention, you got SmackDown live from Berlin. Or I don't know if it's live, but it's definitely in Berlin, correct? Yeah. You got them in Berlin. And then Saturday during the day at I believe 1:00 Eastern time, you've got Bash to Berlin, their pay-per-view, and it's going to be an amazing show, it looks like. Following that night, two things are happening. If you're in the Louisville area, you can come to TNA Impact tapings there at the Paris Town Hall. Do that. If you're not in the Louisville area, but you're somewhere in Kentucky and you want to see awesome wrestling live, you've got the live pay-per-view of Fight Night, OVW Fight Night from Pikeville, Kentucky, at the Appalachian
Wireless.
Appalachian. We were told that specifically. I was there this week. Appalachian. Appalachian Wireless Arena.
I've heard that before. Appalachian, Wireless Arena, at Pikeville, Kentucky. It's going to be also live on, I believe, Fight TV. I'm assuming, or Triller, whatever you call it now.
You can order the pay-per-view through OVW Tix or ov@wrestling.com.
There you go. Whatever. Yes, I actually been out of the loop on a lot of that here lately. So yes, you can do that. And then comes Sunday, live on the Peacock, just like Bash of the Berlin is. You've got NXT's No Mercy out of Denver, Colorado. And that's where you're going to see our guest on the show, Joe Hendry, take on Ethan Page for the NXT title. Not to mention another TNA star, Zachary Wentz, going up against his former best friend and Wes Lee in a grudge match they're going to have. So it's a TNA wrestler going to beat the ass of a WWE superstar, according to what Zachary Wentz said. And I'm a little biased, but I'm going to be team TNA this weekend. So sorry.
Very shocked. Very shocked.
Yeah. Oh.
Very shocked that the company Kiss Ass would pick TNA.
I work for a company. I love TNA. Why would I?
We all do.
I should have asked Joe. I should have said to Joe Hendry that this is the first time I've ever heard you in 4 years talk about Joe Hendry, but I didn't bring that up.
Who? First time you've
I'm
first
joking.
time you've heard me?
I'm joking.
I was gonna say, y'all. Why? I don't know why y'all are trying to hem me up. Hey, look, he didn't block me yet.
Good. Yeah,
but he has
good.
tweeted, and he did read my DM to him. So thanking him for coming on the show. So not
Nice.
blocked yet.
So listen, guys, I mean, you know, when you want to talk about the health of wrestling in general, because I think we've talked about it a lot, you know, over the last few episodes that have been sporadic or whatever, but we know that wrestling's doing really well. But you could look at Louisville, Kentucky right now and look at the fact that 2 nights in a row and almost 3 nights in a row, probably by the time Saturday gets here, will be in Louisville alone. We have 2 sellouts and probably a third coming on Saturday. And then across the state in Pikeville for Fight Night, we have sold more tickets than OVW has sold in 20 years, maybe already sold, and the numbers going up.
And then the walk up.
Did it beat though? Is it beat 4th Street yet? Would that be the only one that would compete? Right.
I think we're up there with 4th Street at this point, and probably going past it by the time we get to Saturday. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was there this week, and we were told how much of a walk-up crowd there is and what to expect. And everyone there from the arena, fantastic. Everyone's super excited. They're talking about the fans and locals that are excited to come as well. I am super excited just from being in Pikeville this week and heading back. So we got some more appearances, some more promoting that we're doing for our huge Fight Night pay-per-view, which again, lock in those seats, guys. You can get it through ovwtix.com or directly through Ticketmaster. But if you can't, you can still order the pay-per-view at ovwtix.com or ovwrestling.com.
This is one of those things where I'm torn, right? Because like I'm in a situation that first of all, we'll say this. I'm just gonna throw this out there. This is a little behind the scenes news. Originally, TNA was not going to be here this weekend. It was going to be the weekend before. So we wouldn't have had this whole like issue where we're kind of running 2 shows, although 4 hours apart from each other, but 2 shows at the same time. So I'm a little torn though, because it's like whereas the official podcast of OVW, I'm like, yes, let's promote, let's do this. Then as the person who works for TNA and both OVW, I'm like, yes, come to TNA. So it's like, I just want, wherever you're at geographically that works out for you, go enjoy go buy tickets, go enjoy the show, enjoy wrestling. The other show that if you don't go to, you'll still be able to see on TV. Whether if you come to TNA, you'll still be able to order the pay-per-view later and watch OVW that way. Or if you go to OVW, you'll still be able to watch the TNA tapings when it airs on Access TV or the TNA Plus app for 2 weeks after that for the next, because it's 2 weeks of taping. So regardless, you could be able to see what you're not going to miss. You're not going to be at one and the other. That's the only thing physically, but you're going to be able to see both things. So my recommendation, if you live in Louisville and don't want to drive to Pikeville, come to TNA and then order the pay-per-view later on that night or the next day and watch it. And then if you live outside of other parts of Kentucky, go to Pikeville, enjoy it, and then just download subscribe to the TNA Plus app and watch it on X, or watch the Impact tapings for the next 2 weeks, and you'll get the best of both worlds. So there you go.
Yeah, and you did cover it briefly, but I did make my way into the newly named Hot Point Davis Arena last night, and it feels nice and cool. The air condition is running, and it's gonna be awesome. And new lighting, everything. I mean, this is cool. This is like a new beginning again for OVW. So
I did tweet out that the name is gonna have a new look and a cool feel with the new AC. So there you go.
Right. I mean, we're sold out too, so you can always still watch Rise, of course, on OVW's YouTube. And I do believe we still have the live feed on Facebook and X, but if not, you can watch it on Triller as well. But I mean, for those who were able to get those tickets, I mean, what a party it'll be tomorrow night. I mean, or tonight, or whenever you're able to listen to this. It's going to be on the
29th,
awesome.
August 29th. So if you're seeing this, watching this, and it's tonight. If you watch this, it was last night, you missed out, but at least you can go watch it on YouTube and Triller, and you'll be able to catch what happened. Because hey, it's exciting. I mean, it's the OVW has not been able to run a live TV show for 2 months, so it's exciting that the OVW is back in the full swing. There's a lot going on with everything happening. There's this Saturday you've got a Rush title defense. You've got you've got a 10-man cage match, like, right? Is that what I saw? Yeah, like
lethal lockdown cage match, the Revolution against Team OVW. So
you've got the OVW women's title on the line, and you've got appearances by WB legend, the Boogeyman, WB Hall of Famer, 2-time Hall of Famer Kevin Nash. You got WB legend as well, Victoria, a TNA legend too as well, and Tara is her name in TNA. And then you've now got the appearing another WB Hall of Famer and JBL. So it's pretty freaking cool.
And he's been showing up a lot of places and causing chaos. He's been in AAA, he's been in GCW. Now I don't know what he's planning coming to OVW, but if I was some of the stars, I'd be watching my back.
I know he's been showing up a lot of places. He really has, and I'm just like, look, get that nonstop stuff out of here. So I just get out of here. So he's been showing up in a lot of places for sure. So guys, let's kind of. It's been a while since we've talked about everything going on in the world of wrestling. There's been so much cool stuff that's happened. And I know the last show we popped back on and kind of did some stuff, and we kind of teased a lot of things. But let's quickly kind of talk about the things that have been going on that we're kind of excited about. One in particular, I think, it's been pretty cool to see Cody Rhodes finish his story, and then now kind of like being the face of WWE. But that's not all that's happening. I mean, we've got a former Ringside alum, getting dumped. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And that isn't Rhea Ripley, by the way. I
was gonna say Judgment Day was a big thing that really got me most recently at SummerSlam.
There's so much I'm missing. So Jeremy, it looked like you had something to say. Go ahead. What do you want to?
Oh no, I was talking about the return of the only tribal chief, the original
tribal chief, and Roman Reigns, and what a pop that was. It's crazy. I tweeted this. I think maybe Ringside tweeted it out but it was like the top over people or pops right now in wrestling are pretty much Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and the guy we just had on the episode right here, episode 200, Joe Hendry. We could probably, and then honorable. I mean, the Hardys are up there because I've seen the Hardys here lately and experienced what a loud, crazy pop those have got. But honorable mentions for someone like a Jordan Grace. Honorable mentions for Randy Orton. Oh, I forgot. CM Punk is also in that top.
So would Trick Williams. Trick Williams. Humongous pops.
I tell you what, it used to get on my nerves, but last night, as we're recording this, it was last night. Actually, again, I don't know when exactly this will air or go live, but I was I used to get annoyed by Booker T's say what or whatever he does during Trick Williams' entrance, and like last night I was kind of like, okay, I accepted it, I guess.
You should probably Go ahead, Linda. I'm sorry.
I would say he came with a huge announcement too that Trick Williams is going to be the special guest referee for our friend Joe Hendry in that match this Saturday or Sunday, excuse me. I
was going to ask Joe Hendry about that. Like, hey, are you okay? Do you need me to come and help you with that? But I kind of forgot to bring that up. So
I'm shocked that you forgot to bring that up.
Well, I mean,
but Jeremy, what were you going to say? Were you going to ask Daniel to let Booker T know?
But Booker T is the head of the Joe Hendry.
No, what I was going to say is let Booker T do that. You should never do that. You should never try to dance on the camera ever again. You have no rhythm. Please don't do that to our eyes or ears any longer.
Well, first off, I think you're completely wrong. I have rhythm. I was on a dance team for many years, and
we know. We've all seen the New Kids on the Block cover band pictures at church.
I was on a dance team, and I could still dance, and
you just forgot right then. You just forgot how to right then.
Sometimes I wasn't trying to dance. I wasn't even doing anything.
Let me just say, and Linda can confirm this. Did he or did he not ask several times if anyone else knew the Bye 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 dance at the fair Friday night? He was trying so hard to get us all to dance. Just so he could show his Bye 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 dance.
You still just go ahead and do it, Daniel. You don't need us to do it first.
I mean, I was going to do it as a sequence, like the 3 or 4 of us together, and then only other person that knew it was Linda, and Linda says I don't want to, and I said okay, fine.
You all should see the pictures. His sister showed me one day. They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Anyways, those pictures are out there. So
They're out there.
anyways, yes. So now AEW just had All In, and 50 something thousand people, which I think it's now. Granted, hear me out here. I'm not trying to. I love many people at AEW, so I'm not trying to. And I'm not knocking the company at all, but it is a little weird that they promote it. And I know 80 something thousand is one thing, but they really made sure you knew the announcement a year ago. But I thought it was a little odd that they didn't announce the attendance this year of what it was. I know it's less than last year. I get it, but it's 50,000 people to come to your show.
That's huge.
It's exactly that's a success regardless. If success would have been you didn't fill the arena, right? The half of it is empty, and it wasn't like that. I mean, they tarped off areas for production or whatnot, so that's fine. The last year they didn't do so much. So to me, it looks like they stepped into production and took more seats on purpose away. So why didn't you tell out that you had 50,000 people? I just thought that was a little odd, and I think I don't see, I don't see WB doing that, even if it was a lesser time. I mean, WB 2 years ago literally had to move one of their pay-per-views because they were not selling tickets to a smaller venue, and it still didn't sell out. And that was, of course, that was a different time frame when they were under different management and whatever. So we get it, but they acknowledged and did it, and they still acknowledged the crowd size. So why not do that? It seems odd.
Yeah, and to go from 250,000 people there last year to not even announcing it this year, it did seem kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and
you know what? It was touted so heavily last year that, I mean, yeah, it probably would look bad if they go, backwards, but it's still like the whole focus on the number of people. I mean, it's very political, like we're seeing right now too. It's that game that people in other avenues are playing, and it's not. It doesn't matter. Just they put on a great show, and that's the thing. I'll give them credit when they deserve credit, because that show was amazing.
It was a good show.
But it's like they just need to figure out the balance between their TV and their big events, and they might get back on the right track.
So question, and I saw somebody say this on Twitter, and I thought it was funny, so I'm just going to share it out. Could they have lost 30,000 fans because those 30,000 fans were CM Punk fans, and they're CM Punk's not there, they left? Could that be it? No, I'm just joking. That's not the case at all. Really what happened, guys, like legit. I don't think it was 30,000 worth, but regardless, they did scale back, or they did scale back seats because they added production. Their production was better this year than it was last year, anyways, and it looked good. So
I'll agree with that.
They did a lot more production things, and you've seen those. I think all of us have been to a WrestleMania before, right? Or at least somewhat of or SummerSlam or something where they do a lot of staging and a lot of things, and that stage was massive, and that takes up a lot of room. Where if you look at last year, I don't think they had a stage like that. I mean, it was elevated, but it wasn't.
No,
like
they
that.
had the little thing that if you'll remember CM Punk's return at Survivor Series, they had the little tunnel hallway.
Yeah,
they did the same, which I thought was ironic that's what he was in last in AEW, and that's how he comes out at Survivor Series. But yeah, it was just a small little tunnel. So yeah, the stage made a big difference. But the official number, it looks like, says 54,000 is what the actual number was.
That's phenomenal.
So, but there were about 20,000 people dressed up as empty seats as well. So
I would love for Emergence this weekend to not be at the Paris Town Hall, but to be down at the Cardinal Stadium, which could make it work if it was on the Friday, not the Saturday, because there's a game there. But have it there, and then all of a sudden we have 55,000 people at that arena, at that place, watching a pay-per-view. Like that would be, or even how about this? Since let's do the math. If it holds what 60? What does it hold? 57, 8? What does it hold for football?
68, I believe.
Oh, it went up to 68. I didn't know.
Yeah, they expanded again a couple years ago.
Well, I knew that, but I didn't know it was 60. Okay, okay, let's just say 68. So that's a little bit less than. Okay, let's do the math on that. That would be like what 45,000 then in the that could hold 60 something, maybe like 45, right? Does that sound about right? Or maybe 40. We'll say 40,000. So hold 68, 40,000 show up. We're missing 28,000 people that could be in that arena or that stadium. It'd still be amazing if it was an L&N stadium at 40,000 people for TNA. I would be super pumped and excited. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you all would have free tickets, but the rest of them would pay.
Nice to know. Finally,
Appreciate that.
Finally. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Jeremy. You're Jeremy's brother or his wife. Everybody. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, there he goes.
There he goes.
just
He's
got
gone. No, I'm just joking. Jeremy knows I'll take care of him. I've said before.
But again, credit where credit's due. When they put on a good show, they put on a good show. And I mean, the matches were good. And congrats to my buddy Ricochet. Glad to see he's in a place where he wants to be. And if that's where he wants to be, awesome. He got a huge reception. He's going to be put in some great matches. So,
Eric, did you honestly think that was that was the worst debut of all time? There was
How was it? No, I disagree.
Well, you can disagree. That's fine, and you could be wrong.
It's not a worse debut. They've had a worse. They've had more.
Oh, they've definitely had worse.
They've had worse.
Matt Cardona's was worse, but I mean, just to pop him in there in that match. His music was underwhelming. The crowd response, it took him a good minute and a half to realize who it even was, even though his name was up on the Tron. It just wasn't very overwhelming. I listened for crowd pop and stuff like that. And it just was like, they're like, oh, yeah. Here's what I worry about. Because I'm probably, Ricochet's one of my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. I'm afraid he's going to do what the others have done. Go over there, get lost in the shuffle. I mean, you've got your 1%. That hasn't. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk didn't, but you've got the Aleister Blacks and the Miros and the list goes on and on. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to him as well, and I don't want that for him. And I know that I don't even blame him for leaving WWE. They were mishandling him grossly. It's just, why leave one place to go to another? Your fiance's there, like you'll at least have somebody to go to at the end of the night to voice your frustrations. Now your frustrations are going to be different because it's going to be, well, why am I only on Collision every 3 weeks like everybody else? I don't know. I get very, very frustrated with that promotion. I want to love it. I just can't.
So I'll play devil's advocate here. And I know that we read what Sean Rossett may report, or we read what Mike Johnson may report, or who Meltzer may report, or whatever, right? When it comes to people being disgruntled and upset or whatever. And, there was rumors out there that a lot of people were disgruntled over when TNA, when management changes happened at the beginning of the year. And some may have been true and some was not. And some are grouped into that. That were upset. Some people were like, no, I'm just ready to, I'm sad to see the changes, but I'm going to stay here. I'm not like, I'm threatened to leave. Right. So there are a lot of things can happen. So when it comes to Ricochet, we don't know what his dreams and aspirations are. We don't know that if his dream is hey, I can't wait to have matches with one of my best friends and Will Ospreay again, because it's been so long since we worked together, and we've been in different promotions for the last few years, and we've never had a chance. Now I got an opportunity to go because my contract is up and he's available, and yes, I can make money. Yes, I can work with him and the other people that I work with that are friends of mine. That hey, I can go work with, do something different for a change, have some different, what a flavor of ice cream, and then I can always come back because I did business the right way. And my wife is right. My fiance wife is there. So I have connections. So as much as I see what you're saying, you also don't know the person that say, hey, I want to go here because I want to work with my friends and I can come back after I'm just signing a 2 or 3 year deal. I can come back in 2 or 3 years, and that's the thing. I mean, that's where I look at it at a different aspect. we can all look at it like you're dumb. You're at the highest place ever, and you're going to another company that's not there yet. We know WB is not, or AEW is not where WB is. We get that, but
Well,
it's one of those things that
there was a guy named Cody Rhodes that walked away at one point, and I think he did pretty well. Changed the business, so who knows?
Yeah, it's and now Cody was also disgruntled on that, but Cody also wanted to bet on himself, and I am okay with Ricochet doing this. Yes, would I have personally have chose to leave? No, but then again, I'm not walking in his shoes, so I don't know. I mean,
Sure. I mean, some people may want to just wrestle on Rampage for the rest of their career. That's up to them.
Look, I have friends that are AW and they would love to be in different places, but at the same time, they also know that the AEW is they can make good money and they can do good things, and that can help them platform to get them where they want to be, and that's great, but I also have people at TNA that may not want to be at TNA. They want to be at the other places. WB. There might be more WB people that want to be at TNA with. I mean, you just never know. So it's one of those. Hey, there may be people that want to go to OVW. Bring them on, right? So you just never know. So it's just all a matter of, and because someone leaves WB to go to AEW or WB or AEW to go to WB or TNA to go to wherever, or them to go to TNA, it doesn't mean that they're all mad. They're leaving because they're mad. It could all just mean they're leaving because they want their spouse or friends there, or they want to just try something new and see if they like it, and they don't. It's like
a different schedule.
Yeah, different schedule. I mean, I don't think Kevin Nash wanted to leave WWE years ago, but the offer was so good at WCW for him to leave. Why not? He had to do it, and it ended up working out for him in the long run. But obviously, it would have been cool to keep him as Diesel in the WWE during that time, right? So it happens.
Let me ask you this question, Daniel, because Joe didn't answer. He still hasn't blocked me, by the way. Thanks, Joe. How long do you hope? Because he didn't answer. I asked him this question, and he answered a different one. Totally cool with me. You're Joe Hendry. You can do what you want. How long do you hope the relationship lasts between NXT and TNA?
I honestly hope it's forever.
Okay.
In a way, I mean, and what I mean by that is I would love this partnership could go on forever. There's no reason to end it. I think it can turn into something special. WWE had a similar situation. Well, they're not there yet. We're not in this partnership yet. But there was a similar situation WWE was involved in 2018 and 2019 before the pandemic, and a little bit in 2020 until the pandemic happened. So that worked out great for NXT as well as NXT UK, and it made sense for them. And if you look at WWE's main roster right now, that partnership got a lot of talent that's now on the main roster. There's a couple of people at AEW, don't get me wrong, but it also got a lot of talent. So the same thing, but in a better level of scale, can happen for today with WB. And I know I work for TNA, and I'm not saying anything. I don't know, so I'm gonna put that out there. But my hope is that this same thing that they were doing before can now be done again on a bigger scale, and that you may see a Jordan Grace 2 years from now. We've already seen it on the main roster in the Royal Rumble, but in 2 years from now, being on the main roster, competing for one of the WWE women's titles, the world title or the Universal or Undisputed, whatever they call it, title. And it'd be like, oh, wow, I remember when she's exactly. And that's not just her. Joe Hendry, Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, Josh Alexander, Steve Macklin, so on and so forth. It could be more and more that can happen and do that. And that's the hope that I hope and I'm wishing for, I guess, to be a thing. And only time will tell.
I hope it lasts long term too. Forever would not be it was so cool to see Rosemary last night on NXT.
Yeah.
Just more stuff like that. Sprinkle it in. It doesn't have to look, you as a wrestling fan, you can be greedy and say, I want 4 or 5 TNA people every week, but that's not going to happen. give me a surprise Rosemary, give me a surprise Rascals, give me, Joe Hendry. Every once in a while, I mean, it doesn't have to be that guy. Nobody, if I ever see a report that says Joe Hendry is lazy or he doesn't work hard, it's a lie without me even having to know who said it, because that guy was in Orlando last night and in Louisville, Kentucky this morning, making the local rounds on the radio. That's just that's just respect. It's somebody that works as hard as we do. If you can impress us with your work ethic, then you're doing something great. And Joe absolutely does.
He mentioned he hasn't had a day off, or he has 2 days off since the song came out, right? There's one other person that probably hasn't had a day off in 3 years, maybe 1 or 2 as well, and that is Cody Rhodes. So you're looking at somebody that's doing exactly what Cody's doing on a little smaller scale, but he's doing it on a smaller scale to be able to, hey, I can do it on a smaller scale. That just lets you elevate up to do it on the higher level scale, right? And it's because if you can't do it on the lower scale, you definitely can't do it on the higher scale. So it's
I know someone else hasn't had a day off in a long time, and that'd be me.
And that's why Linda Kay
different scales.
But that's why you're appearing on OVW and OVW live events. You're also showing up on SmackDown and Raw. You know, I mean, it's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't know you were a paramedic. That was crazy.
Yeah. Who thought? Yeah. Who knew?
She's a paramedic and she's paparazzi. Like, it's pretty wild.
Everything. She does it all.
She does it all. And she's a co-host of this podcast. She's a ring announcer. She's
play-by-play and color.
Play-by-play and color. Yeah. Oh. I've even seen her possibly I've even seen her wrestle once or twice. Oh yeah.
Who knows about Linda Kay wrestler when that can happen again?
Yeah. Oh.
Hopefully soon. Look, there was one of the weeks, I can't remember if it was the first or second week he was there, but he was in Orlando on Tuesday, in Scotland on Wednesday. Like he was putting on, he talked about his shows that he did. He was putting on a show back in Scotland.
That was his first appearance.
His first appearance. Okay. And they had like a pay-per-view or special event. I don't know what you call them over there. Premium live event they had that weekend. And he was literally, I believe he was in Scotland during that prior weekend. Then he was in Orlando on Tuesday. And then Wednesday he was back home in Scotland again. So I'm spending a lot of time in that airplane. He said travel was stressful. I could understand because I don't want to go anywhere near an airplane. So I can only imagine if I was on the run he was on, I'd probably be stressed out too.
Yeah. But yeah, there's guys. So I kind of want to, I know we're back and we have a lot to talk about, but I kind of want to save, we're going to get back in the habit. Going to kind of move things around, do some stuff. So I kind of want to go ahead and kind of wrap this up in this show here. By the way, we do have some new sponsors coming out. We're going to shout those out on the next episode and everything. And I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see what wrestling is hot again. Not that it ever was not hot. It just was warm at times.
It's hotter now.
It's hotter. Yes. And I'm excited to see where everything goes. The relationship between TNXT and TNA in general, the relationships with with OVW and like, maybe some places in Cleveland that I see running around here that Linda's been working at. Relationships. See what AEW does. I mean, look at AEW. It's been 5 years, and they have a lot to be thankful for 5 years too. And what the next 5 years is going to bring. This whole changeover from we're all going to Netflix.
NXT going to SmackDown going to Fox.
From Fox to USA. Yeah, from Fox to USA. Yeah, and NXT going to the CW. What does that also mean for Raw's going to be on USA for a while, but what does that mean for other promotions out there? There are going to be other opportunities for another promotion to kind of come off one channel, go to another channel, right? Like, what is this all going to do?
Yeah, Raw on Netflix. What could that do for algorithms of former wrestling shows that are still on Netflix?
And what about heels? And like heels coming to Netflix this month coming up. So like heels is a wrestling show. So a lot of it sounds like Netflix is moving to a lot of wrestlers content. Does that mean that new seasons of shows pop up, right? And And or is it what do we automatic? I'm curious. Does OVW automatically get season 2 if they want to do a season 2 of wrestlers, or do they move on to another promotion? That's my question that I'm wondering. Interesting. I never really thought about that until recently, and I put that out there in the universe. I want it to be OVW, but I'm like, what if they did wrestlers too and it was not us? Would we all still support it? I think we would, right? Because we love wrestling. So, anyways, guys, appreciate you all watching, listening. Thank you again to Joe Hendry for coming on. We've said his name and he did appear. And I love it. I'm excited for it. For what's to come. Guys, you can follow us all on the podcast avenues. Get us all where you listen to podcasts or watch us on YouTube. Hit subscribe, download, all that stuff that you do. On the social media, we're at Ringside Podcast, everywhere you can get us, except for the TikTok. I think we're at the Ringside Podcast. And individually on Twitter and Instagram and wherever, I'm at Daniel Spencer.
I'm at Jeremy_CSZ.
I'm at Eric on the air.
And the IG, the Insta, I'm at Linda KPWR on the X, Linda K22, but you can always go to lovelyLindaK.com. I've got links there for my socials and merch store as well.
All right. Guys, any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before we go?
I'm stoked for this weekend with OVW. I'm so thrilled. I know we all are, but just to get back into the mix of things and performing again and just I can't wait to hear the roar of the crowd. Everyone's just so excited to be back. And yeah, we'll see what happens after this weekend. But again, super excited for this weekend.
We missed you guys. We're ready. Yeah.
See y'all tomorrow night at OVW Homecoming.
Yes, sir. As always, in the meantime, in between time.
Till next time, you can catch us ringside.
From London to Paris to Tokyo. You're blocked, Jeremy.
I'm not blocked yet.
I believe.